Today, we're diving into one of the biggest challenges we all face in modern life, that constant nagging battle for our own focus. We're going to break down two really powerful ideas, deep work and flow state, to help you finally get a handle on your attention. So let's get right into it. So does this feel familiar? You know that feeling, that frustrating tug of war between a day filled with constant interruptions and those incredible, almost magical moments where you are just completely lost in what you're doing? It's a struggle we all know, but really understanding the mechanics behind it, that can change everything. I mean, on one hand, you've got this world of shallow multitasking. Your inbox is pinging, your phone is buzzing, and you're always, just one click away from falling down some social media rabbit hole. But on the other side, you have that feeling of being in the zone. Time just vanishes, the work feels almost easy, and you're actually making real, meaningful progress. This is the core difference we're going to explore, the world of distraction versus the power of deep work and flow. Okay, so how do we get more of that in the zone feeling? Well, it all starts with discipline. And our first big idea, deep work, is all about building that foundational strength in our minds. So this is deep work, a term that comes from the author Cal Newport. He defines it as the ability to focus, really focus, with zero distractions on a tough mental task. And this analogy here is just perfect. It's literally like strength training for your attention. It's not always flashy or easy, but it's how you build the muscle you need to do truly great things. What's really cool is how this breaks down what a deep work session actually is. First, it's intentional. You have to decide to focus. It's not passive. Second, it has to be distraction-free. That means the phone is off, the email is closed. The task also has to be a real cognitive challenge. It has to stretch your mind. And maybe most importantly, the outcome has a lasting impact. It adds real, tangible value to your work or your life. All right, so if deep work is the discipline, the hard work, then flow state is the magic that can happen because of it. This is that incredible feeling we are all chasing. Now, the whole idea of a flow state comes from the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He described it as that experience of total, complete immersion, where you are so absorbed in what you're doing that you completely lose track of time. Unlike deep work, which you kind of push yourself into, flow is something you just slide into when the conditions are perfect. It's less about force and more about absorption. So how do you even know if you're in a flow state? Well, here are the classic signs. Time gets weird. Hours can feel like minutes. The task you're working on is tough enough to be interesting, but not so hard that it's stressful. The outside world just kind of melts away. And maybe the best part? The work itself, the process, becomes its own reward. It just feels good to do. And this visual just illustrates the core ideas so brilliantly. Flow happens right there, in that sweet spot, in the top right corner. Your skills are high, and the challenge you're facing is also high, right? If the challenge is too easy for your skill level, you just get bored. If the challenge is way too hard, you get anxious. Flow is that perfect, beautiful balance that keeps you engaged, happy, and performing at your absolute peak. Okay, so we've got deep work, the discipline, and we've got flow state, the magic. But here is the most important part. They aren't enemies. They're not competing. They're actually partners. This table really lays out the differences so clearly. Deep work is all about discipline, right? It's intentional, it's structured, and it's focused on getting a result. And yeah, it can feel like hard work. Flow, on the other hand, feels like ease. It kind of just happens. It emerges spontaneously. And the focus isn't on the result so much as the experience itself. It feels totally effortless while you're in it. I absolutely love this quote because it just sums everything up perfectly. Deep work is the habit you build. It's the reps you put in at the gym. It's that consistent practice that creates the opportunity for a flow state, that incredible experience to even happen in the first place. For sustainable peak performance, you really can't have one without the other. But, and this is a big but, chasing that amazing feeling of flow can have a pretty serious downside. And it's one you really need to understand if you want to avoid burning out. Yeah, because as good as it feels, reaching that peak state isn't free. There's a hidden cost that we almost always ignore. And it comes down to a really simple fact. Your brain and your body, they have limits. They absolutely need time to recover. This is what people sometimes call the flow hangover. See, getting to that peak state of flow, it costs your brain a lot. It uses up a ton of very expensive neurochemicals to make it all happen. And this can leave you feeling completely wiped out mentally and physically, sometimes for days. If you become a flow junkie, always chasing that high without respecting the recovery, you are on a fast track to burnout. It's a simple rule. The higher the peak, the deeper the recovery you're going to need. So the goal isn't just to have these intense bursts of focus. The real goal is to build a sustainable rhythm, a system that balances that amazing high performance with absolutely essential recovery. So let's get practical. How do you build this? For deep work, you have to be intentional. Schedule these 90-minute blocks in your calendar and guard them like they're the most important meetings of your day. Physically get rid of distractions. I mean it. Put your phone in another room. Before you even start, know exactly what done looks like. And this last one, it's huge. Learn to embrace boredom. In the breaks, don't just grab your phone. Let your mind wander. Let it recharge. Now, to invite flow, you can't force it, but you can create the right conditions. Just like we saw in that chart, you want to match the challenge to your skill level. Stretch yourself, but don't snap. Create little rituals, like putting on a specific playlist to tell your brain, okay, it's time to focus. If you can, take away the pressure of a ticking clock. And finally, pick tasks that you actually find rewarding. Curiosity and enjoyment, they are powerful, powerful fuels for flow. The real key to putting all this together and avoiding that flow hangover is this idea called hedonic calendaring. It's basically a strategic way to manage your energy, not just your time. So what does this actually look like? Well, on a daily basis, you'd have lower intensity things that help you focus, like meditation or some creative work. Weekly, maybe you have a really challenging workout or a deep, engaging conversation. Monthly, you could plan for a major competition or a long, dedicated block of deep work. And then seasonally, you plan for those all-out pushes, like a massive project deadline. See, this isn't about avoiding intensity. It's about spacing it out so you actually have time to recover and keep performing for the long haul. And remember, this is a trainable skill. This isn't just a nice idea, the science actually backs it up. A huge analysis of over 10,000 people looked at the link between mindfulness, which is a core part of deep work, and the ability to get into a flow state. Now, that number you see, R equals 0.38, that's just the statistical way of saying there is a real, significant, positive connection. It proves that the more you practice focused attention in your daily life, the more easily and frequently you'll be able to access that incredible feeling of flow. So here's the bottom line. Deep work is the discipline that builds the foundation. Flow state is the joy and the reward that makes all that effort worthwhile. They need each other. So the real question this leaves us with is, how are you going to start building your own rhythm of focus and recovery?